Good afternoon, everybody. Before I get started, let me know, please, that you can hear me well and that you see my screen, appointment-based trades, daily market movers. If a couple of you would type in, let me know. That would be awesome, and we'll get started. Richard, yes, we are recording this webinar, and we will send everybody a copy. Okay, very good. So I want to get started right on time. First, I want to thank everybody. It always means a lot to me when you're willing to give up your time and spend it with me. You don't know me, most of you, and it shows that you have faith in humanity, and that's a good thing. So my name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. I'm a musician at heart. I'm a regular guy. I was just a member of this company, like some of you in this room are members. I just got hooked on trading many years ago when I helped my mom set up her investment accounts. And I jumped from room to room, guru to guru. I did all the same things that everybody does. We all seem to make the same mistakes, the same errors. And my goal really is just to try and help you make one choice that I think is a good choice. And it can be a very inexpensive choice also. So just keep in mind that all of the trades that I'm going to be discussing are for educational purposes. We're not investment advisors. We're giving you a window into the way that I would trade, okay? And we want you to take what I do and make it your own. I don't want you to just follow everything I do or follow everything I say and mimic me. I would prefer if you put some time in, learn how to do what I do, and know how to modify it and change it so that you can become an expert in it. The way that I did. I was a beginner when I started. I knew nothing about trading. And now some people consider me an expert in event-based trading, news trading. And I like to think that I am. I like to think that I'm a great teacher. And that's what I really specialize in. So what do? Our company is called 10-Minute Trades, and we trade what's called appointment-based trading. It's a simple time-based approach, okay? We trade on a schedule. It's so beautiful. You don't have to sit in front of your charts for hours and hours and hours waiting for setups. We trade on a schedule. You can set up your schedule on specific days, specific times, up to a month in advance. Every Sunday, I make a video for my members, and I also create what we call the weekly market mover. And let me show you what it looks like. This is what this week's schedule looked like, and we send it to our members for free. And we send it to non-members for free. So if you want to get a copy of this weekly schedule, just go to our website, www.10minutetrades.com, and sign up for our free video, and we'll send you this weekly market mover every Sunday for free. So what is it? It's a multitude of things. It's our trade room schedule. Every time we're going to be in the trade room, under trade room opens, it shows you the time that will be in our trade room. It also has trade triggers on it. Triggers are the events that we feel will move the futures markets in the upcoming week. And it's very important to realize, upcoming week. We do everything in advance. If we have a trade, we send you a report the day before. We don't wait until the day of. We send you a report the day before so you can study it, learn about it, see if you think it fits your particular risk profile. You can test it. It's pretty awesome if you think about it. We know the day before an event how we're going to trade it. And I know very specifically how I'm going to trade it, okay? All trading has risk. The trading that we do is no riskier than any other forms of trading. It used to be called news trading. We now call it appointment-based trading because really that's what we're doing. We're making an appointment with the market. But it's not just news that triggers an appointment-based trade. It might be news, a high-impact economic report. That's a fancy way of saying news. It might be earnings. Okay, we trade Apple earnings. We trade the FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, FANG, F-A-A-N-G. That's what they mean by the FANG stocks. We trade those earnings. Trigger category 3, end of day trades. Right now, we are working hard to get our end of day trade working really, really well. The end of the day trade goes through periods where it might work for 4 months, it might not work for a month, then it might come back and work for 4 months. Right now, it's in a state of revision. Our current setup is being worked on, but we're honest, we're very, very transparent. Everything that we do, you can see in our trade room. We don't show fake trades because we trade live. We can't show fake trades. And I'll show you a losing trade today. I'll show you winning trades. There are hundreds of triggers within those categories that you can pick and choose to fit your own schedule. Those 3 categories: news, high impact economic reports, company earnings, and end of day trades. And you can even add another category to that a lot of people like to trade: opening trades. A lot of people like to trade market opens. The point of what we do is that when you get familiar with us, you'll realize that you can design your own trades. If you dig deep into what we offer, you can go quite far and design your own trades and do what I do. So the first thing we do, it's called appointment-based trades. You got to find the trades. So how do you find appointment-based trades? It's really easy. You go to the calendars, right? There are many calendars. The gold standard, in my opinion, of calendars is Forex Factory. And we just simply go through Forex Factory. Every week when I'm getting ready to create my schedule, I put the next week up and I go through the days. Forex Factory has an impact. Red impact means there's more chance of the markets moving on that event. But it's not always true. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is knowledge of the impact of these events. Ironically, on Thursdays, natural gas, it's a yellow, which means low impact. Natural gas is not a low impact move. It almost always moves the natural gas market enough to have a significant trade. Okay, so we go through calendars, we go through Forex Factory, we go through investing.com, another very good calendar. What's excellent about investing.com is when a news result is released in real time, investing.com shows you the result. So in other words, for instance, this morning, when we were trading the University of Michigan, at 10 o'clock, that report is released, and 95% of the time, investing.com is reliable enough that at 10 o'clock, it shows you that news result. And then one of my favorite sites also, a newer site that offers a free tier and a paid tier, is called financialjuice.com. Financialjuice.com is a partner of ours, excellent company. They have a news feed, meaning that they print news as it's happening. They have a squawk box, one of the few free squawk boxes, and then they have a higher level tier that's very, very reasonably priced. Not $1,000, not anywhere near $1,000, but you can subscribe to their very reasonably priced news feed and you get the results very reliably. So that's called Financial Juice. Financialjuice.com is free and they have a pro version, very, very fair priced, excellent company. We love them. They're a good partner to us. So that's how you find the appointments. You use calendars. And like I said, there's many others. FX Street, Econoday is very nice. And I spoke about how they're color coded. All the different calendars have a slightly different way of working. So you pick the trade by finding the high impact events, find the schedule that fits your schedule, and then you'll see that the reports are released at a certain time. And then see investing.com doesn't use color, they use bulls. 3 bulls is a high impact. Econoday has a really good uh, international calendar. That's the thing I love the most about Econoday. Their international calendar is fabulous. It's a little bit hard to see, I realize, in a webinar, but if you get up close, each country is represented by a flag and they show you what the events are that particular day. Excellent, excellent calendar also. Even if you're a regular trader and you don't trade news, if you're a discretionary trader and you get stuck in the market when Powell, the chairman of the FOMC, is speaking, you might not understand why you got blown out of a trade. It might be that Powell said something that affected the market dramatically and you didn't realize, you weren't being knowledgeable, so you caused yourself a bad trade. You should always make yourself aware of events and news so that you don't get accidentally blown out of a trade by a news event occurring. So why do these reports work? It's really simple. For instance, why does the natural gas report move the market almost every week? It's because every Thursday at 10:30, a report comes out and tells how much natural gas there is in storage. And when that number is different from what's expected, it moves the natural gas market. Now, look, I promised you that I would be completely honest and transparent, and I am. And natural gas was a loser for me this week. But I want to show you a losing trade because no one ever does. And when you go to a webinar, all you see is perfection. Let me show you what a losing trade looks like. So I traded natural gas. I have a plan. I have a certain way that I like to trade it. And let me just find it. Give me 1 second. I was expecting everything happened correctly, except that the move was a little bit fast and no software in the world could keep up with the move. So I got what's called a bad fill. I was filled at the bottom of a candle, and I'll show you what I mean. And it happens occasionally. You're gonna have, if I sat here and said everything works all the time, you would never believe me. But no one ever shows the bad ones. Let me show you this trade. It looked like it was going to be a great one. So I was ready for natural gas. Over here on the right, I was waiting for the news to come out. My orders are on the chart. They're represented by these X's. What's going to happen is the news is going to show extra gas in stock. It's going to drive the price of natural gas down. What happened is it went so fast that my software could not find my stop, and I lost money on the trade. That's going to happen. I would be a liar if I said I'll never have a winning trade again or I'll never have a losing trade. But also last week, we had plenty of winners, and I'll show you those as well. But you can have a bad trade. It happens. So what do? We bracket the trade. I showed you in that particular video, which is a great example of what's a bracket. It puts a bracket right around the current prices. Bingo, there's a bracket. There's the price, there's the price. Okay, another trade this week that we happen to have a nice winning trade. We trade an oil trade called the API report. It's a weekly trade. We trade it every Tuesday. And I'll tell you something, that you could probably just trade this one trade right now every month, and it could be the only trade you trade because it's probably 80% successful since January, I would say. I can barely remember the times that people have lost money on this trade. It's been so successful, but it puts a bracket around the price. This particular trade is something we call a range trade. We have more than one type of trade, but nevertheless, it still creates a bracket, those X's. The current price is that red candle. And when oil moves down and crosses through the X, it pulls us into the trade on the short side. If it goes up and pulls us through the other X, it would bring me in on the long side. This API report, it burst up, it pulled me into the trade, it chopped around a little bit, and then you'll see it took about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 seconds. When those 30, 40 seconds were over, I moved my target into the price and I grabbed 12 ticks of oil, $10 a tick. The trade's going to end right now. And I made $120 in 40 seconds. Okay. 36 seconds, $120. That was the API trade. I trade small in the room, just like a normal person would, so that you can see when you come into our trade room what it's like to be a regular trader, not a rich millionaire, not a pauper, but someone who's just the average regular old trader trading average sizes. You could see what's possible. So I made $120 in 36 seconds. That's not bad. That's okay. Little trades add up. They build and build and build. I love little trades. Most of our trades, as you can see, they don't take 10 minutes or less. They take probably 30 seconds or less. Some take a minute, some take 2 minutes. I can't remember a trade that took 10 minutes. So it's easy to understand that you can see where you could find hundreds of these trades. And what we want to do is we want to give you these trades on a silver platter. We don't want you to have to work. We've spent the past 7 years, thousands of hours researching and back testing this type of trading, appointment-based trades, and we've narrowed the field down from hundreds to what we call the top 3 trades of the day, and those are the trades that we focus on every week. And why are these trades worthy of making the cut? It's because the trade triggers that they're based on give us the highest probability of being a profitable trade. Obviously, we're not going to spend time if we test a trade and the trade is lousy. We're not going to bother, okay? We call these daily market movers, all right? DMM for short. Every day, usually at a minimum of 4 days a week, we send out a report that has each of the top 1 to 3, sometimes 5 trades a day. And we send out a report the day before so you can prepare. And just to give you a nice example what our daily market report might look like, this is exactly what you're dealing with. It looks like this. This is a report that we sent on September 10th. The Euro main refi rate, that's a bank report. We sent out the daily market mover. We also had a press conference trade after the bank rate. We had US core PPI report. That was a busy day. Natural gas storage, crude oil inventory, all in one day, the 30-year bond auction. But the beauty of all this is that it's dated, the trades were September 10th, but we sent this document to you September 9th. So you could look at it, decide which reports you want to trade, and test any of the ones you want to test. Talk to us, send us an email if you're curious about a trade. You know, the point is you have a little bit of time to see what's going on before you make a decision whether or not you want to trade. On this daily market mover, we show the trigger, the crude oil inventory report. We give it a risk rating, 1 to 5, 5 being the highest risk. We show what futures market. Okay, we trade futures. We use the Ninja Trader platform. We do have specialized software, but if you have a software platform and you have a nice dome that you use or chart trading, you could learn how to put these orders on your chart and you could simulate them with us, or you could simulate them on your own based on the way that I'm going to trade them. This yellow line is the way that I'm going to trade these reports, okay? This particular report, I have protection of a 12-tick stop. I have targets set up, a cancellation rule, an activation time. What time am I going to put my orders on my chart? And then I have a bracket also. We on the Daily Market Mover, we also have a mini trade journal. We're always working on that trade journal to try and keep it as accurate as possible. We have text about the trade, very important information that will help you in what you're going to do when the trade takes place, before it. And that's what we call the Daily Market Mover, okay? And we, like I said, if it's a busy week, you might get one of these reports every day, but usually at least 4 days a week, we'll be sending out a schedule of reports for the next day, okay? Keep that in mind. I love that, the next day. So you have time to prepare. I've shown you the triggers. I went over the Daily Market Mover, the risk, personal trade journal, and I showed you, this is a perfect example in a little bit smaller size. You could see the whole report in one. It shows the date of the trade, the trigger, the peaks. These are the average ticks that it moved recently over the past 18 months. And then this is very useful. The journal shows something very useful. The size of the move in this third column, it shows how many ticks the report moved the market. That can help you determine your targets, okay? So it's very, very useful information that you can use to help you set up trades. We put a lot of time into these reports, obviously, so you don't have to spend a ton of time. And we sell a subscription to these reports for $49 a month. And that's a steal. Think about it. One trade can make way more than that. Just, look at that API report. Here's my screenshot from the API report. Now, I apologize. That was a different report. It actually made more money. Let me show you the correct screenshot. The API report, I made $120. It was actually 36 seconds. I should have said 36 seconds. And we sell a subscription for $49 a month. But because we're doing this webinar, we're going to do a special offer. And here's the deal. If you take action today, we'll give you 90 days of the Daily Market Movers for just $27. So I believe that you can really make a difference in your trading for the small amount of money of 27 bucks. We'll send you 3 months of these reports for just 27 bucks. It's a great deal. It's worth $147. I'm not here to sell $1,000 products. I'm here really to educate you about appointment-based trading and about an awesome deal that you can get on these reports. This means you don't have to study the calendars. You don't have to spend hours going through the trades. We'll do it for you, okay? But I'm excited because I've got something else that I want to include. So here's how you do it. It's real easy. Just go to this site, www.getdmmnow.com, okay? 27 bucks. I mean, you spend that on coffee in a week. If you go to Starbucks, it's probably 20 bucks if you go to Dunkin' Donuts like I do. Getdmmnow.com. It's a steal, and get our reports. They're really good. Whether you trade futures, you could get a good idea what the Forex markets are going to do also. But we are geared, just so you know, we lean towards futures. It's not a subscription. It's not going to rebill you. You don't have to worry. And remember, if you don't want to auto renew, we're not going to charge your card. We think our deal is so good that you'll send us an email or call us and you'll auto renew on your own. We think that you'll love these reports. But there's something special that I want to talk to you about also. So just to recap, if you do nothing after 90 days, no problem. Okay, so Ricky asks, sounds good. What do I need exactly to be able to use the offer? So Ricky, let's be really honest here. If you have a software platform that has a dome, okay, or offers chart trading, then you can take our daily market mover report, right? And you could use the setup. In other words, it tells you bracket the current price by 2 ticks. That's what a bracket of 2 means. So when the 10-year bond auction comes out, we trade the 30-year bonds and we put a 2-tick bracket above. Okay, Ricky, I'm familiar with TOS. TOS has a dome. So basically, before the trade, you would put price orders on the dome or on the chart 2 ticks above the current price. But you want to practice in simulation because you want to watch the market and make sure that it's not a market that's moving so fast that it pulls you into the trade early. So listen, for $27, you can practice for a month because you're getting 3 months of these, and find out which reports fit TOS the best, and you can set them up on your futures charts. Okay, some reports are faster than others. Some reports are easier to set up than others because of the speed at which the news makes the market move. But that's how you would use the reports. Also, as I was saying before, to spend $27 just to keep you safe as a discretionary trader, you could make sure that you stay out of the market when big news is coming. And frankly, if you want to be brutally honest, if you go to our website and just sign up for our free weekly schedule, you don't even have to pay to keep yourself safe in the market. If you have our free weekly schedule and you keep an eye on it every day, right? And let me go over that again for you, because I know I'm throwing a lot of info at you quickly in 40 minutes. I can't possibly expect someone who's not familiar with us to remember everything. But if you look at the weekly schedule, and if you get it for free. Just go to 10minutetrades.com and register for it by asking for our free video. All you have to do is put your email in. And it shows you all week market events that might move the market. So let's say you're trading at 9 o'clock in the morning and you're trading gold. This is a warning that you should be careful if you're in a gold trade at 9:15, the trigger time, okay? Because there's a news report that's coming out in the US that might make the gold market and the ES, the mini S&P market, and maybe the NQ also move. So you want to be careful, and our weekly market mover will give you a heads up, okay, as to when to be in the market and when not to. I can't tell you how many times that I got blown out of a trade and lost money because I didn't understand that there was news affecting the market when I first started trading. You don't know these things when you're a beginner unless someone tells you, okay? So here's what I'm excited about. So 27 bucks, go to getdmmnow.com to get our reports, but here's what I think is awesome. We're going to give you something extra. We're doing something new. So you notice that we have a schedule, right? Now, the one thing that everybody always wants are more trades. It's just the nature of us as human beings. We want more and more. We want to do more and more. So this particular report, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 17, theoretically 17 trade rooms. Okay, that means possibly, maybe we'll have 17 trades. Probably not quite that many. Sometimes a trade gets canceled. Sometimes the news doesn't move the market. But we noticed that there are many what we call under the radar trades, trades that people don't pay attention to, trades that move the market a little bit smaller than some of the bigger trades. In other words, there are trades that are not as big as the US jobs report. The US jobs report or the ADP report, they have a tendency to really move the market quite a bit. And let me give you an example. Let me show you. Let me just show you a trade that we took the other night that not normally isn't even a gigantic report, but it had a very nice move. And I'll give you an idea what I mean. This is not an under the radar trade. This is an in the radar trade because it's Australian jobs. People are watching the Australian market to see what the jobs market is. And the market, the news came out, that's the Australian dollar that we traded, and it exploded up after the news came out. It had a very nice move. What we also discovered is there are smaller trades. And we created, I'm in the process right now of creating mini market movers. So we've got daily market movers. Now we're going to make mini market movers. I believe that I will have at a minimum 6 to 12 extra reports that would be possible trades every month. I've already got, and I've just begun working on this project. I already have, I'll show you. This is my list so far of new mini market movers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 already, and I haven't even dug deep. I haven't even dug deep into the market. Let me show, and we're including these at the same price. GetDMMNow.com, 27 bucks. I already have 7 of these. So you know that there's going to be 7 extra trades this next coming month with mini market movers, okay? Let me give you an example of what a mini market mover looks like. So I showed you the API report. I showed you the natural gas report, which was a big mover. A mini market mover is something like a report we call Chicago PMI, okay? Chicago PMI, most people don't even know what it is. That's why we call it under the radar. But what we pride ourselves on is being really knowledgeable. So what we're going to do on these mini market movers, really knowledgeable. First, let me backtrack. Really knowledgeable means we know that this particular report, even though it says it's scheduled for 9:45, we know that subscribers pay for an early release of the data 3 minutes early. We trade this report at 9:42, okay? We ride the coattails of the people that pay extra for the data on this report. So we're trying to be cute by basing our knowledge on something most people don't pay attention to. And last month, I'll just show you what our trade did. It's mini. So the idea is a mini market mover is going to have lower risk than some of the big trades. And it's going to be a little bit of a profit, but a nice, not scary. Watch what happens. So here's our trade, 9:42. Our X's are our orders. The news did come out early. You don't see it because it's early, right? It's 9:42. So we're just counting on the market to do the trade for us. We survived the move to the opposite direction. And in 20 seconds, 21 seconds, we made $80. Now, I know people are saying, oh, $80, that's nothing. But think about it. If you have 5 trades a month that make $80, that's an extra $400. That's half of a mortgage for some people. That's most of your utility bills for some people. And I'm not saying that all the trades are as small as $80. If you have a trade that is reliable and small, you can increase your contracts. In other words, you could add contracts to the trade. So in theory, you could make $160 on that trade by doubling the risk that you take. Okay, so there are ways that you could make more money. But the point is, for the same amount of money, we're going to include the mini market mover. So it's like a junior report of the daily market, but it has all the important information that you need. It has the trigger. For instance, this mini market mover is revised University of Michigan. It shows the market that it trades, gold. It gives it a risk level, and then it gives it the way that I would trade it. But one of the things I like best about the mini market mover is, we live in a time of amazing technology. I record virtually every trade that we take in our trade room. So we decided, and people are always asking us, hey, how can I see what the trades are? So on the mini market movers, we're going to start putting the recent trades on the mini market movers. So the report is even more valuable. Don't you think the value is really high if we can send you a report that says, hey, I think you might want to trade the University of Michigan, the revised news, and here's a video that shows you how it did last month, and you could see the setup I used on this yellow line. You could see the exact way I traded it. I think that is tremendous value. Certainly for me, education is the key. As I said before at the beginning of this webinar, what I pride myself on the most is my ability to teach you what I do. I know that trading is not easy, and everybody can become a better trader by practicing and working at it for your whole life. I don't know anyone who trades perfectly, and I mean from the best of the best all the way down the line. They're always getting better, striving to do better. It's just the type of thing that you're always working on improving. So the mini market mover helps you to do just that. It shows you the setups that we use, or that I use in particular. And right, Ricky, I mean, $80 a day. And I'm not saying that we have a mini market mover every day. I'm saying that we have about 12 a month. We'll have it. I'm shooting for a minimum of 12 a month within the next 60 days. That's my goal. But that's a lot of extra trades that could give you, what if it's $120 a trade? And Dana, it's nice to see you in the room. I know you just signed up with us and you're just getting your feet wet and you're trying to learn more about our system. So it's nice to see you here. By the way, your ID is active, right? Your ID has been activated. But I think it's an awesome deal to get the reports for 3 months, 90 days for $27, and we're going to include the mini market movers. Okay, so I just can't think of a better deal. I love the fact that we have the video so you could see what happened last month. I'll make sure that every single trade, every single report is going to have at least one video on it. And then as time goes by, we'll keep adding videos. Eventually, we'll barely need the report because you'll be able to just watch the videos. And in fact, in our trade room, that's what we do. We practice trading, we do live trading, we do simulated trading. That's how you get better. And we're also starting something new also. We know that a lot of you out there, you're just not comfortable paying anybody that you don't know without talking to them first. So we're gonna do, my boss beat me over the head because frankly, I'd rather not talk over the phone. Not because I don't like talking to people, I love talking to people, but when you talk on the phone, you can't send an email at the same time. You got to concentrate on the phone call, at least I do. But we're going to start something where if people are interested, watch your email over the weekend. We're going to start a new thing where once a week, we're going to schedule one-on-one appointments over the phone. You could talk to me. And I just had a better idea. I think instead of doing it on the phone, we should do it in our trade room. But I'll talk to my boss about that. For now, we're going to do it over the phone. You can call, you'll be able to call me person to person. I'm the trade room moderator. I'm the trading director. And if you don't want to talk on the phone, I just wanted to make sure that you had our email. You can email me or the company also, obviously, at help@10minutetrades.com. And you can definitely get a hold of us. You know, you can always reach us. We're very good about responding to email. And again, I think that we're one of the most transparent companies out there. Many of our members have been with us for years and years and years. The funny thing about what we do is, obviously, this type of business, people come and go all the time. We never fight with our members. We never argue. You're always, you know, in the right. I don't think we've ever had somebody leave us angry, and I don't think we ever got a bad review on the internet. You know, if you Google us, you'll find, I think, nothing but, if there's reviews, they're not going to be bad. We had some previous names. We used to be called thenewstraders.com, if you really want to dig deep. And we also used to be called JOBB. JOBB is the name of the software we use. It's software we wrote to trade news. And then at one time we thought thenewstraders.com would be a good name. And then we realized, you know, what do we really do? We trade in less than 10 minutes. So we thought, let's change our name to 10minutetrades.com. It's catchier than thenewstraders.com. So the point is, you can Google all those names, and I don't think you'll find bad reviews about us. We're very honest, transparent. What we over deliver on everything. We don't under deliver. We want to give you more, not less. And before I go, I'm really excited to hear Mercedes, the Buddhist trader. I've never met her before. I've been looking into her book and the things that she offers, and it's so important to be a good psychological trader. And I hope Mercedes, I don't see, I got to make sure Mercedes is here, but I assume she is, and I'll be handing over to her in just a couple of minutes. But I wanted to just show you a couple of trades. So I showed you a bad trade that we did this week. Let me show you that API trade one more time. That was a winning trade. I always end on a positive note. We date our trades, so you could see I'm not bringing up like 10-year-old trades. You don't have to have our software to use our reports, Ricky. I'm not going to lie to you and say down the road, if you really like what we do, you know, one day maybe you'll want to use our software and you'll want to use NinjaTrader. But we have tons of people that use just our reports and they trade on their own. It's just the nature of it. So no, it's not required that you have everything that we do. As long as you have a DOM and a platform that supports DOM trading and chart trading, you can use the reports. So that was our API report. It was a quick 12 ticks in 36 seconds. I showed you natural gas. We had the week before last a great trade, or we had one other nice trade, not one other, but we had a couple other trades. This week we also had the Australian trade. Oh, I did show you the Australian trade. That was a nice trade. That was, I think it was Wednesday night, if I remember correctly. So we trade, remember, we trade on a schedule. If you work during the day and you can't get away, you can't get into an office for 10 minutes. This trade took place, our trade room started at 9:15 at night. But if you're trading off of your own platform and you're just trading by yourself, it's 9:30 at Eastern time. So if you're in California, that was a 6:30 trade. And if you're on the East Coast, it was 9:30 at night. So that's one of the amazing advantages of trading on a schedule. It's fantastic to trade on your own schedule. I can't imagine anything that's better. I love trading on a schedule. I could never go back to trading where I had to watch the charts. In the old days, I used to get up at like 4 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I was worried about taking trades. I was worried about missing trades. Now I know exactly what time the schedule is going to take place, and I can schedule my trades around our weekly setups. I just can't imagine a better way of trading. It's fantastic. It's just absolutely fabulous. So every week you get that schedule, and then if you have the reports, which again, it's such a good deal. I just can't imagine why someone wouldn't want to check these reports out for 27 bucks. It's just a steal and a half. Any questions, folks? So we trade using the NinjaTrader platform, but you can use TradeStation. They have a great dome. I'm trying to think. Infinity Futures has a very nice dome. Multi-Charts has a very nice dome. And when I say a very nice dome, what I mean is you want a dome that's ergonomic. And what is a dome? Does everybody know what a dome is? Everybody know what a dome is? Does anyone need me to show you what I mean when I say a dome? Or everybody's good? A dome is okay. Ricky wants me to show, so let me boot up my platform real quick. It only takes a second. So when I say a dome, and almost every platform has one, what it's going to look like is this. Give me a second. The software is just loading up. So NinjaTrader has what we call a super dome. This is what a dome looks like. It's a stair stepping of price levels and orders. And you can put your orders on a dome by clicking the mouse button in a certain way, and each dome does it differently. Ironically, with NinjaTrader, I don't particularly love their dome as much as I like the TradeStation dome or a multi-charts dome. So I like a dome that's very ergonomic to use, but almost every dome looks like this. It allows you to place orders. It allows you to change the instrument. For instance, this is gold. You could change the dome to the mini S&P with a click. Now you're looking at the mini S&P, or if you want to look at oil, I'm looking at oil price now. So that's what I mean when I say a dome, okay? That's what a dome is. All right, so folks, I'm pretty much done with my presentation. I'm trying to see if I see Mercedes. If not, I'll keep going. Let me see where, if I can find her. Oh, there she is. All right. So I'm going to give the screen over to Mercedes. I hope I'm pronouncing this properly. Mercedes, you correct me if I'm wrong. Mercedes Oestermann van Essen. Okay, the Buddhist trader. And please stick around for Mercedes, because there is nothing better than psychology in keeping you safe as a trader, right? What could be more important than your psychology? So let me give you Mercedes. It'll take 1 second. She's here and waiting. I'm going to change presenters. And Mercedes, we should now be able to hear you and see your screens.
Thank you, Lee. Well, can everybody hear me?
I definitely can.
And can you, okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Can you see my screen? At the moment, it's in small mode. Can you see my screen?
Looks great.
Fantastic. Okay, so I just make it bigger. I may need a little bit of help a bit later on with the navigation of the tools, because I'm more used to Zoom and haven't used GoToWebinar for a long time. Anyway,
that's fine.
so,
I'll stick around for you, Mercedes. Okay.
Thank you so much, Lee. Okay, here we go. The subject of today's presentation is trading psychology and time. So I'm Mercedes Oestermann van Essen. I'm a trading psychology and trading performance and investment performance coach. And I also teach meditation. And I'm the author of The Buddhist Trader. So for those of you, which I assume is probably quite a few of you who don't know my work, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I am trained at Commerzbank in Germany. had the opportunity to experience the stock market from the pits as it used to be, which was very, very exciting. But in those days, I'm going back, well, over 30 years now, you know, sort of women were not really allowed to sort of go on the floor, and certainly not in Germany. So I decided in the end that really, you know, just sticking around in a boring bank wasn't for me after I smelled, you know, the real life, what it's like on the stock exchange, which I have to say, to this day was one of my most exciting periods at Commerzbank. Anyway, you know, then I got, and I have to warn you, my background is actually very, very different from most people, which makes the way I approach things, I guess, quite unique, actually. So I studied the wisdom traditions and ufology, the impact of our environment and earth energies on our brain and on our general well-being. And I use this information with my coaching clients and help them, because it makes a huge difference on how your brain functions when you're in front of the screen. So then I trained in a thing called energetic NLP, which is a form of neuro-linguistic programming. I'm also a theta healer, advanced EFT practitioner, and I'm a Usui Reiki master and qualified to teach Reiki. So I've traded since 2001 and coach traders on achieving ultimately what it's all about, achieving their human potential. And I've done this for approximately 15 years. Before that, I've worked with entrepreneurs and military personnel, helping them achieve their potential. So my trading and mentoring is really about awakening your own true potential by making you understand how the laws of the universe work in the markets and in you, and really the two are one and the same thing. And then it's all about taking that intellectual knowledge, of course, and making it your own and developing your own unique kind of trading and investing mastery. And I have to say, what I've heard of what Lee said early on, I spent a little bit of time early on looking at what he is offering. It sounds very, very exciting, very interesting, and speaks certainly very much to the way I approach the markets these days. So just wanted to put that in there. So we will discuss resetting your financial blueprint, the importance of self-knowledge. It's self-knowledge, a special kind of self-knowledge. You'll understand in a moment what I mean. Perhaps will give you the biggest ROI on your investment. We'll look at cycles of time and consciousness. And then we'll discuss a little bit about how the truth of universal law in trading and learning to think correctly. And then we'll pull it all together. I'll explain to you the formula. So, okay, let's start with trading psychology. It's very different today from even as little as, well, certainly 6 months ago. You could feel the changes coming in about 12 months ago. So really what we are talking about, underneath the appearances of everything you see in the world and also in trading, it's a massive shift of consciousness that is happening. And this shift of consciousness is the biggest that has happened for 26,000 years within a much larger cycle. Within that 26,000 year cycle, there is a smaller cycle, or a 5,000 year cycle. And then we can drill down into, right down to the relatively short cycles, like the kitchen cycle. And they have got the longer cycle in there, the Kondratiev cycle. And what's happening at the moment, a lot of the bigger cycles are converging, and you understand in a moment why that is so vitally important for our psychology and how everything really inside of our psychology, in our energy matrix, and in everything we see is dramatically changing. And it affects everybody. It's affecting the financial system. I've said the writing has been on the wall for a long, long time. Many people, including myself, have talked about it. I've written about it in The Buddhist Trader, which is a book that was written basically 8 years ago. You can get, by the way, the updated copy on my website as a digital download. So anyway, here we are. We cannot run away from it. It is with us. We have to deal with it, and it demands from us to take a very different approach to the same old, if you like, because basically our psychology, how we see things ultimately hasn't changed. Fear is fear, but how anxiety is anxiety, overconfidence is overconfidence. And when you hesitate to take a trade, or when you get impatient waiting for trades, well, guys, you got the perfect system here. Now you don't have to do it anymore. Well, this is still all happening in a very different energetic context, and that is really what we are talking about here. Today's trading psychology is about learning about your real blueprint, not the blueprint you have been told about, and then understanding the blueprint and developing your strategies around this. And the strategy is really about how you deal with yourself. It is ultimately all about your relationship with yourself first and foremost, and then aligning your relationship with the energies of the market. And when the two come into alignment, well and truly, magic ensues. It doesn't come any simpler than that. Yet, granted, this is not a one-day wonder, but when you get there, it is a very, very beautiful place to be, because you will be in a place of inner harmony, and ultimately in a place of inner power. You are realizing that you are the creator of everything in your life. And when you get to that point, and believe me, I've been through all the different areas to get to that place, it's quite amazing. And hence, trading psychology today must be holistic, because the game is changing. It's like if you're looking at a kaleidoscope, and the kaleidoscope, of course, really, it's a magical thing. But why is it so magical? Because all the moving parts are changing all the time. And when you can embody that appreciation and translate this into the world today, well, you will already be on the way of seeing things very differently. Now, trading success is not about your indicators, and ultimately it is really all about timing, and it's about flawless execution. And these are the two components. You can learn to execute your trades, and you can learn to understand time and the essence of time. So you all know there are a gazillion trading systems out there, but if your mindset isn't right, your trading system will not perform. And a trader with the right mindset, I have seen that, having worked with many professional traders in my life, I can assure you a professional trader will work magic, but they are doing it very, very differently from the a typical average independent trader. So, but that's another story. So basically, in a nutshell, 95% of trading success is mental. You could go and buy a system that Lee is offering you here. At the end of the day, there are no two ways around it. You still have got to execute the trades. You have to put the system, on your computer, be there, even if it's only at specific times, but you have got to do it. Full stop, period. So as I said, it's all about you and your relationship that you have with yourself. And if there are kinks in that relationship with yourself, well, you will have problems with your trading. One thing I'd like to say, in 95% of all cases, if you have problems in your trading, trading is only the channel that expresses that problem. The problem ultimately is not to do with trading. It goes much, much deeper. It goes to a core misunderstanding you have about yourself. It goes ultimately always back to some core existentialist fears. And the way the world is today, it has brought out many of these core existentialist fears. There's no doubt about it. So, once you understand that, you will also become more in tune with my philosophy about the psychology of trading. So let's look a little bit at your financial blueprint. The blueprint we use in our life today is basically built on 3 incorrect assumptions. The first one is that you have been told really totally incorrect things about how the financial system works. And it is fair to say that the average newbie trader comes on board, they have great ideas, things they may have read in the Financial Times and in all the magazines out there, and they bear no resemblance to how the financial system really works. Now, because of where we are today, it is actually way more important that you really do understand how it works than it used to be some years ago. Why is that so? Because we are coming to the end of a system that it will collapse. It cannot function like this anymore. The big financial reset is upon us, and it will have massive impact going forward on the way you trade and the way you invest. So then the second part is that you believe that there is a lack of resources, and therefore you must work extremely hard to get your share to survive. That is basically not true, and it also goes totally against the laws of the universe. And then the other thing is that you have been told discipline is key to success. No, it's not discipline that's key to success. It is alignment, as I've explained a little bit early on, and alignment is key to success. So alignment means that you are in harmony with yourself, and then become aware when you are in harmony with the markets, and above all, when you are not in harmony with the markets, because if you're not in harmony, well, that is telling you that you should take a break, walk away from your screens, and regroup before you go back and do some more. So together, these 3 indoctrinations, and this is exactly what they are indoctrinations, and people make a lot of money out of them. They are the root cause of all your trading problems, and they are also the root cause of all relation problems and really any other problems we have in life, because ultimately they have made us believe that making money is our God. It's money is the survivor God, if you like, when that really is not true, because it is ultimately never ever about the money. So right, I love this little image, which I pulled off the internet this morning. So money, the key to survival? Heck no, because what you really need to understand is this: money is nothing else but a mental concept, and I appreciate it was the same for me. It's hard to understand because you think, oh God, without money I cannot exist. But underneath all the money, there is an energy. So therefore, losing money is a concept. Making money is also a concept. And when you understand both as just energy, then you can tune into the energy, and you can feel both when you are in that energy of losing money, which is, mental, and also on the other side, when you're in that energy, when you're making money, because it feels good, right? So, and then you can, if you can feel the difference and become present to it and can observe this energetic difference from that point of view of observation, you can actually start changing your relationship to this, because then you will come out of the immersion into the emotion where you have to trade from this place of not losing money. it doesn't work like this. You cannot trade like this. And believe you me, I've done this for 20 years. I have got all the t-shirts and all the books. I know what it is like when you are sitting there avoiding to lose money. It is a sure road to disaster, and leads you into chronic brain incoherence, which then leads you to make stupid mistakes, and then you are on a roller coaster, a mental roller coaster that gets you into being overcritical with yourself. Then, you know, the old self-flagellation, self-sabotaging kicks in, and before you know, you are, you know, down in excess of what you are allowed to lose on the day. And, you know, it's a slippery road. And, you know, I'm sure, you know, if we are honest, we have all been there. And believe you me, I know traders. I've worked with professional traders who have had 30+ years experience when changes happen in personal life circumstances, or, you know, when changes, as we have seen in the world at large, happening right now, and we are triggered, and all of a sudden everything goes out of the window. So it's not just experience. It is, you know, it's something that can happen to any of us at any time. And, you know, we have to be aware of this. So, you know, really what I'm saying, you know, I'm not just speaking to new traders. It is for all of us. And anybody who has traded for a long time, you know, will know the truth of this statement. So, okay, let's look at what resetting your financial blueprint is all about. So basically, in a nutshell, it will free yourself from the Babylonian money codes. Now, what are the Babylonian money codes? Very quickly, it is a system that was brought onto Earth thousands of years ago. It goes back beyond the time of Babylon, but I can't go into this right now. And it's basically a system that was designed to imprison you. And it was developed by an entity who had fantastic understanding of how the laws of the universe work. And that's why they have been so successful. They have been used for thousands of years, and they have entrapped us in that belief that we have to abide by those codes, when in reality that absolutely is not so. And okay, I know maybe I'm stretching some of you a little bit. I did warn you at the beginning that this is going to be a little bit of a different take from, you know, the standard trading psychology thing. Now, from my perspective, it's vitally important that you understand these things so that you can come out of the immersion and claim back your own power, because this is really what we're talking about. Once you understand how you create every aspect of your life, how you create your trading, and that you actually do have the power to change it, well, it becomes a totally different ball game. And this is really, you know, what I am all about, and this is what I want for everybody. So therefore, it is actually vitally important also that you understand how the universal law works, and that you then take this understanding and put it into practice in your trading. So that practice resets your blueprint when you suddenly become aware there is a different way of operating in your entire life. So now, what is the big magical key here? The big magical key is, and this is, you know, what the instigators of the Babylonian, or inventors, shall we say, of the Babylonian money codes knew, is that you can create something out of nothing. Now, guess what? You can do the same thing. It is not, and I repeat, it is not the prerogative of the Fed. So, and there is a way of doing this, and that is all to do with overcoming fear, because the Babylonian money codes work so well because they are based on fear. as I said, this is just a brief overview. I'm sorry, I can't go into the details of this right now. I just want to impart on you the basic principle that we are dealing with. Everything is built around the energy of fear. Now, fear comes from ego. By contrast, the opposite of fear is always love. It is not courage or anything like this. It is love, because fear is chaotic. By contrast, love is harmonious. Love is beauty. If you look at a chart and know the difference between a chart that is chaotic and a chart pattern that is clear. Now, I have to say I come from an Elliott wave and gun perspective, and I use chart reading skills as my key for seeking our trade. So, it's a different approach, and, there are as many different approaches to trading really as there are people. But then if you have done something like this and you come from that aspect to trading, you will know what I'm talking about. So where there is beauty, there is opportunity, and you can learn to hone that appreciation of beauty, which is both energetic and it is a visual. Now, for example, you can go, I can go through a gazillion charts in no time whatsoever. It's no problem for me, and I spot, without really having to hang around on a chart for too long, I know exactly if there is a trading potential there or not. It's just okay, I've done this for a long time, but you can hone that ability as well if you have a relatively, let's say, relatively clean mind. None of us can claim that we have a clean mind, but we can work towards having a clean mind where we are not in judgment and become the observer of everything around us. Now, okay, self-knowledge, of course, is an asset. Self-knowledge is basically the next thing that is born out of love, if you hone the love energy, and it is the biggest ROI on your investment. I can assure you of that. And that is why it is so important that you learn to go there. The key to this is that you acknowledge the fact that there is gold in your shadows, your shadows being, all those things you think you are doing wrong in your trading, all the number of times where you have not stuck to your stop, where you have over traded, where you got yielded to anger, yielded to fear, or God knows what else. If you can embrace this and say, okay, that is the past, it is fine, what can I learn from this? Then you are already in a place where you can tap into the gold of your shadows. And by the way, gold is also the love energy. It has got the energy of love. So, this is a very, very real thing, very three-dimensional thing from that perception. Now, let's look at the bigger cycles, which is an important part, which also is used, or should I say abused, in the Babylonian money codes. And these are the different cycles. Now, in essence, these are the key cycles we are dealing with. There are cosmic cycles, there are solar cycles, there are planetary cycles. And these cycles put together, they create what we see as climate cycles, what we see as economic cycles, and what we see as conflict cycles. And of course, then there are other cycles, economic cycles, there are agricultural cycles, Kondratiev cycle is a good example here. Climate cycles really are linked to solar cycles and also to planetary cycles. And these cycles sort of link together. The conflict cycle is ultimately the cycle we are in at the moment. And the conflict cycle is a big cycle, as I've said early on, it is the ending of a 26,000-year cycle. Hence, of course, it'll last for a while, whilst we are in the thick of it right now, but the resulting reset will go on into 2030 to 2034, and it depends on what model you are using. For example, if you use the Socrates model, Martin Armstrong, and he will say himself, his model is linear, so it does not take into account the cycles of consciousness. So we need to be very clear about this. There are different forms of cycles, but these are the main cycles which are driving reality here on planet Earth. So the cycles of time and the cycles of consciousness. Now, the cycles of consciousness, which are also called metacycles, these are non-linear cycles. There is the other cycles we have looked at earlier on. They tend to be more linear in appearance. Now, consciousness is non-linear because each and every one of us, through the decisions we make in every moment, we can impact on the duration of a cycle. We can make it worse, we can prolong it, and we can shorten it. Therefore, it is so important that we do spend the time to work on ourselves, look at the discomfort that is coming out in our shadows, in our fears. And we know there is a lot around at the moment. A lot of it is also man-made, make no mistake. And we have a choice. Are we going to yield to it? Or are we going to say, yes, I'm going to take the time and look at this. I am not going to run away, which incidentally, it's the natural way that the mind wants to operate. It wants to avoid pain, and it wants to seek pleasure. Hence, by the way, intraday trading is so popular because it yields to the need of the mind for instant gratification. So, and then we can feel good about ourselves. So now, all time cycles, by the way, are subjective because time in and of itself is subjective, and you have all experienced how that works. Good time flies. If you are in, say a loved one is ill, needs an operation, and you are waiting for the result of the operation, well, you know how time stretches. Now, you can actually learn strategies where you are playing with time and make it extend or shorten it, and that is all to do with how you learn to perceive yourself and what goes on around you from within. We'll talk about this a little bit more in a moment. Again, I said this early on, whether you are intraday trading, swing trading, or investing, there really is no difference to any of these. Ultimately, the strategies employed may be slightly different. The psychology behind all of them is the same, and the only difference is your perception of timing. Some are more comfortable with working in a longer time frame, and others of us are happier to do swing trading or indeed day trading. So day trading is more pressing, or tends to be more pressing, on your psychology, purely and simply because things are happening so quickly, and you have to mentally reset every time. After every time you've had a trade and you've closed out a trade, you have to reset to position 0, because you cannot allow yourself to take the energy from your last trade into the next trade. Most traders forget about this. Hence, they find it very, very hard to deal with situations where they have more than 2 losing trades in a row, after 3 losing trades in a row, most traders' psychology is basically in the proverbial dustbin. So, as I said, the need to avoid pain and seek pleasure basically favors short-term trading. And I want you to really become aware of this and know that it is not the number of trades you take, but if you have, and I will use the word discipline here, but it's a different form of discipline. It's not a mechanical discipline, but the discipline of honing your inner awareness. If you can discipline yourself to have the inner awareness of why you take a trade before you take it, that's a huge step forward. And I think also from everything I've seen of Lee's system, the system is very good to help you with that inner process, because you don't have to be in the market all the time. And there is no rule book that says you have to be in the market all the time. It's different when you're an institutional trader and you have to process large orders. You are processing around VWAP beating VWAP, something like this. That's a different thing, because you have to get the orders out there. But then again, the whole process of trading is very, very different, because this is about execution, 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 and nothing else. So now here, for most of us, we are not in that position as individual traders. We do have the luxury that we can actually take the time to become really very, very personal and intimate with ourselves as we trade. And in that sense, and this is what I love about trading, trading is a channel, it's the instrument of self-discovery, and that's a very beautiful thing. So ultimately what has to be said, your biggest challenge is that most short-term trading goes straight against the basic laws of the time in the universe. Hence they are very, very tough on your mind, and hence many traders fail, because when you go against something, I'm not saying that you can't learn to do it, but it's unbelievably hard work. So okay, now let's look at the formula here and converting the monkey mind to a mastermind. And we're going to look at the formula, which basically unfolds in 3 steps. And I hope you love this image as much as I do. I think it really sums up what often goes on in our brains. So you're sitting meditating, and the monkey mind says, no, not now, I need to look at the screen now, I might be missing out on a trade, what if, blah 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 blah. Okay, so there are 3 steps to inner trading mastery. And note, I'm saying here inner trading mastery, because we are assuming you have got a system, and if you have a half decent system, all you need to do to make it work for yourself is, really bring out the inner master trader. And by the way, everybody has got that. It is just a matter of whether you are willing to take the steps to hone that part of you. So, and that's everybody's choice, of course. So now, as we've already said, the first thing is understanding the laws of the universe and how they apply to trading. The second step, we mentioned the shadows. This is about healing the inner trader and learning strategies to think more like a creator, become a visionary, instead of being like a mechanical executor of your trading plan. That can work. Ultimately, it is not very satisfying, and it's very, very hard work. So then the third part is that you need to learn to hone your relationship with your inner core, becoming aware what is going on inside, deep inside of you. And when you can do this, you are basically beginning to hone your connection to source, because everything you create doesn't come from anywhere outside of you. If you happen to jump on or find on the internet the most fantastic system, ultimately, this is not coming to you from the outside. Something anew has generated this. And well, how do you get there? It basically is practicing these 3 steps. So in a way, it is simple. It may sound too simple, but ultimately, underneath the appearance of complexity, the universe is actually very simple, but it expresses itself in an infinite fractals. And that is where the difficulty comes in, because we then get lost in the individual fractal than seeing the overall picture. It's a little bit like looking at a single tree and analyzing the tree and its leaves and its tree trunk, and not understanding why this tree is losing its leaves or whatever it may be, and completely forgetting that, really there is an entire forest out there. So, okay, so looking a little bit closer, how does that look like? Step 1 is right now about becoming comfortable with chaos cycles. Absolutely vitally important. I've explained to you this chaos cycle. It's part of a big cycle, and big convergences of cycles within. It's not going to go away as much as we all would like, forgive my French, the shit show to end. And believe you me, I just want it to end as much as you do. Yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. But hey, we will have to accept that there is something much bigger in play. And by the way, it's not all negative. So, we have to accept it and become comfortable with the nature of these cycles. And that means ultimately that you have to become fluent in unknown territory. You've got to become comfortable with the art of unknowing, if you like, because in chaos cycles, what's happening? There are no reference points. They cease to exist. And we are seeing this in exaggerated form, playing out wherever you look. And some of it you can use to your advantage. I mean, there is no law that's saying, don't stop buying the S&P on pullbacks, none whatsoever. So, there are different ways of playing all this, and all these ways of playing it are okay. But what I want you to understand is, do whatever you do it, learn to do it with full conscious awareness and a full understanding of the animal we are dealing with here. So now, of course, when you look at the bigger picture, you will also see that there is order beyond these appearances. Chaos, absolutely, what we perceive as chaos, absolutely needs to happen. And, really, it's a play of Heisenberg's law in full action. Heisenberg's law means there is always one particle in the Petri dish that is not doing what everything else that, or all the other particles are doing under observation. Put in a nutshell here. So in big supercycles, the ones we are in at the moment, unfortunately, which is a chaos cycle, well, basically anything goes. It's the 4th dimension. There is good, there is bad. In extremes, everything is accessible, and everything in between is there for anybody to grasp or not to grasp, or run away from, or just observe and accept, depending on where you are. So, okay, really, why you need to understand these bigger chaos cycles is very, very simple, because whenever a supercycle converges with other big supercycles, and I've already mentioned a few, there are others which are all converging together, then you are always dealing with an impulse wave. It cannot be any other way, whether you look at Elliott wave, whether you look at the meta cycles in consciousness, whether you look at the economic cycles, whether you look at health cycles, whatever it is, this is a universal principle. So We are dealing right now with an evolutionary impulse. Evolutionary impulses always destroy because they reset all energy, not a little area in some part. You know, when we had the tech bubble, for example, that was not a super cycle. That was something entirely different, may have been a precursor to what was happening, and of course it was, but it was not what we are dealing with today, which, let me repeat again to put things into perspective, we are dealing with a super cycle shift in consciousness. That is the driver, the key driver of everything else you are seeing that is happening in the world today. So as I said, it resets all energy. When that happens, of course, your mind has a tough time because your mind is trained to look at the past. It can only make decisions from the reference points from the past because your linear mind cannot look into the future. You need to find different modalities to engage your creativity and your vision, which is absolutely vital today as we are going to navigate the next few years moving forward and start thriving instead of just clinging on for survival as so many are doing right now. So as I said, it's not all bad, because whenever something is destroyed, and unfortunately I can't give you the science of this now because that would go too long, but it's actually a very beautiful thing when you understand the science behind it. While a system collapses, even an entire system collapses, as it is happening at the moment, the new systems are being built simultaneously. And that is exactly what is happening right now. And if you can tune into energy, maybe some of you can, you will know what I am talking about because you can feel it. It is very palpable. You can, by the way, also observe it if you understand the Schumann wave charts. The Schumann wave is the, shall we say, the heartbeat of the earth. That it is what it is referred to. It's the a rhythm, the pulse inside the earth, and of course it has a direct impact on our brains and also how we function. It has got a direct impact on emotional regulation. The Max Planck Institute has done some fascinating research on this many years ago. So, and we see all this as the Schumann waves are rising at the moment. If you look at a long-term chart, you can see it very clearly, and that gives us, one of the better three-dimensional understandings what our brains are coping with at the moment. So, okay, we can't go against the impulse waves. It's really, if you understand a bit of Elliott wave, you do not go against an impulse on an Elliott wave pattern. So, on a bigger Elliott wave pattern. So step 2 is getting into healing the inner trader. And that, of course, means you have to learn to think correctly. So, well, what are we talking about? First of all, we are talking about allowing our shadows, not denying them, accepting them, and understanding that, the cracks which your shadows are opening, and, where the universe at the moment is helping us to see the cracks. In the cracks, light is consciousness, is shining in, and we can embrace that. We've also said before, we know that not all cycles are linear. There is a lot of rubbish out there and incorrect information about cycles out there which are misunderstood, and you can't just take one cycle in isolation. And the doom and gloom guys, they are great at this. I say, oh well, the end of the world for sure is coming now. Well, no, you don't know that, because every single one of us has a role to play in this. Let's make no mistake about this. We are that powerful. So, really, we are talking about healing the dualistic aspect of our mind. Dualistic aspects are self-doubt, judging, criticizing, rejection, and all those things like anger, frustration. These hone the duality of the mind. Now, if we can learn to pull ourselves out of judgment and hone the love energy, as I've said earlier on, well, duality will disappear, and shall we say, the mental equity curve, gets smoothed out, for the want of a better word. So, and then there is step 3. That is, of course, really now dealing with, the driver of your reality. That is, how you use your mind, specifically how you must do whatever you can. Yes, and I'm saying this absolutely unequivocally. You must do this. You must learn how to create brain coherence. And this is more important today than it's ever been before, because our poor brains are challenged every moment we step outside our front door. The grid is so heavy. There is no joy in going shopping for the most part these days. So everything has got this fear energy, and you feel it quite often in the markets. You sit in front of the charts, and you get erratic movements. You can pick up on the energy, and this fear energy is an energy of frustration. So when you learn to bring your brain into coherence, you are creating resilience. You will find you don't have to react to these things anymore as you used to. And that in itself will make you feel better. It will make you more resilient to, stop the shit show out there, full stop, period. So meditation is a beautiful tool. I teach it. It opens the heart. Very, very, very beautiful. Then there is a thing called non-invasive neurostimulation. I've discovered, well, I was introduced to this at the end of last year, and it's been an absolute blessing. You can actually, at the end of this presentation, if you sign up to my newsletter, I give you two gifts for signing up, and one of them is a presentation where I explain exactly how non-invasive neurostimulation works. My coaching clients use it. It helps with many emotional regulation issues, and builds the root chakra, creates brain harmony, and it also helps you with increasing awareness. In fact, I had the other day a testimonial from a client of mine in Australia, and I had not told him about this. He said, "Can you send me these items, because the company doesn't ship at the moment to Australia?" And I said, "Yep, okay, we'll do this." And then he said to me, "Look, I think there is something interesting going on with these. It's opening my awareness." And I said, "Yes, you are absolutely right, Ford. It does that." And it's quite an amazing tool. Comes at relatively small cost, and so it really is available for anybody. But as I said, if you're interested, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll send you the presentation for that. So, right, what else have we got here? So, summing it all up, pulling it together, really what it's all about is learning to trade or invest or swing trade, and ultimately lead your life with increased heart energy. And this is, basically what I teach in one form or another in everything I do. Now, the benefits, well documented, by the way, I didn't make this up, strengthens super telomeres lengthen, super resilience. We discussed this before. When you get into brain coherence, you become stronger, and you don't give your energy to all the things you don't want anymore. And that also leads to super stress relief. You will not feel that stressed anymore. Super immune system not only health-wise, but also immunity means becoming immune to what is going on in the world, not being reactive, but staying and remaining in your own power. And when you can do that, you become proactive, and you have that inner connection to yourself where you learn to say no, no to trades you don't like. And by the way, that goes also for leave system. There may be a day when you say, right, no, okay, today I don't want to take this trade. Let that be okay. It is fine as long as it doesn't become an excuse. Then it becomes something else. Then it becomes hesitation, and hesitation becomes avoidance, which is, of course, something else. But sometimes we are not in tune. We are not machines. None of us is. And in the environment we are living in today, we have to absolutely learn to become kinder to ourselves. And in becoming kinder to ourselves, we are helping raise the grid. We will be more understanding with other people. And before you know it, the whole trading environment, the world at large will become a nicer place to live in and operate in. So it's self-fulfilling, a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So now here, actually, I put a special offer on, which I did actually for a presentation I did the other day, and I thought, I leave it here. If it's of interest to you, I just go through it. This is my trading psychology course, Improve Your Trading Mind in 21 Days, actually. And now, basically, this course consists of quite a number of different parts. First of all, there is a part about learning about the laws of the universe. Then there is a very important and hugely empowering part that goes into detail about the art of asking the right questions. It is a way to retrain the brain out of perpetual negativity. 75% of automatic thinking is negative. I dare say right now, I don't have any statistics on it, but just looking at what we see, how people react, I would say automatic negative thinking is much, much higher. And that would stand to reason also because of one of the planetary cycles we are finding ourselves in right now, which is to do with the root chakra. That is the chakra that keeps us grounded and balanced, and there is a lot going on there, but sorry, I digress here. So, okay, discovering the art of asking the right question is a very, very powerful tool. Then there is a in-depth questionnaire about, it's a trading psychology questionnaire where you will learn about your psychology. It takes some time to do. You will not do that in 5 minutes, but it will give you very, very deep insights if you take the time to do the questionnaire into where your hidden blocks are. So it's well worth spending the hour and a half or whatever it'll take you to go through that questionnaire. So then with this course, there'll be a 90-minute one-on-one coaching session. I've increased that from 1 hour to 90 minutes, purely and simply because in 90 minutes we can do a lot of amazing work, repatterning, healing, whatever is required, sort of to get you more into alignment and ultimately to get, of course, the most from the course material. Then you will also get, and this is not on my website, you will get 3 months live group coaching with, which is basically worth $300. So, and the next group coaching call is scheduled for the 3rd of October. So the investment in this course is $969. Here is basically, you can look at this. I take this, it is recorded, and it's also on my website. These are the audios that come with it. There is a meditation in there, you know, obviously how to deal with fear, embracing change, discipline, and spirituality, combining this, and you know, it'll lead you to trading confidence, you know, how that works, and you know, all that is explained. So it's quite a comprehensive program, which well, I know it'll bring you a lot of benefits. So, and here ultimately and finally, and then you know, I'll shut up. It's you know, you can sign up to my mailing list, and where I said, you know, I will send you two gifts here. One is the recording of the presentation for non-invasive neurostimulation, and the other audio is basically an audio that deals with how to meditate correctly, because there are many ways of meditating. And I teach a very specific form of meditation that really gets you connected to yourself, but also helps you reprogram your mind. A little bit of this, of course, also is in the course, in the Improve Your Trading Mind in 21 Days course. And it is, you know, we will be dealing with that also in the live group coaching calls, which, by the way, I should just mention, they last, you know, approximately sort of for 2 hours, you know, something like that. And, you know, I'll do one-on-one work in the group coaching call as well. So here it is. You can go to my website, Mental Strategies for Traders, on the product page under the section courses. You will find the course. So that brings my presentation to the end. Now, if there are any questions, and you know, Lee, if I may please have your help, because I'm not sure what to do here, and I don't want to press the wrong button.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay,
yes.
so if I see any questions, I will read them to you.
Okay.
That was awesome, by the way.
Thank you. That's
was
very
fantastic.
kind of you. Thanks, Holly.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what do you think about all of the standard trading coaches, you know, the people that fit into the Mark Douglas vein of trading, their trading psychology? What just obviously what you do is quite different from what they do.
Yeah.
So what's the validity of the typical trading coach? Because I tend to think that what you're saying is true. We're in cycles without a doubt. And
Yeah.
so I guess what I'm asking is, what do you think of Mark Douglas and the type of trading coach that he is?
Well, of course, Mark Douglas, you know, bless him. I mean, obviously, I think we've all gone down that road at some point. I certainly have, and you know, it's you evolve as a trader and as a person, you know, and if you don't, I think you stop trading. It's as simple as that. So to me, yes, there is a place, a time and place for everything, because you know, if we look at our personal individual evolution, you know, not everybody would be able to fully comprehend what I am talking about and would be willing to go down that road. However, if they do, and I feel more and more people are interested in this kind of thing, because purely and simply because of where we are in the larger scheme of things, you know, we are changing, consciousness is changing, as I said, and that really our consciousness is moving on from the more mechanically based discipline methods that are still taught, let's face it, by the majority of trading coaches out there. I don't know of anybody who teaches what I teach, at least not in that kind of depth, you know. But I know also, you know, those who do my programs and stick with me. It's fun, you know. It's a bit, I sometimes call it going on an adventure of consciousness, and to me it is important. It is meant to be fun. Growing is fun. The mind is naturally curious. So if I yield to the curiosity of the mind and ask myself, well, what can I learn today that I didn't know yesterday about how, I don't know, how I hesitate for a second before I execute my first trade in the morning. I think a lot of people can relate to this. So if I put this out there and I don't wait for an answer and say, right, okay, now I just tune into myself and see what comes up, I know for a fact the universe always gives you an answer, so it's a totally different approach, and as I said before, to me, it's about alignment. It is not about learning to mechanically deal with my stuff. You see, and it's also not about necessarily saying, right, okay, I have got a problem because I hesitate with trading all the time. Therefore, I need to really, really dig deep to clear out my shadows. That's not how I work. Rather, I work in transmuting shadows. And I mean, I have done the same thing. I used to do the EFT, emotional freedom route a lot of the time, where sort of you tap and you use a little bit of NLP and sort of look at your shadows and say, right, okay, how do I overcome this? Where is it? What am I not seeing? And if I were to see it, what is it? Well, we don't need to do this anymore. That's the beauty of it. If we get into the energetic side of things, it is the fast track to transformation. I hope I've answered that question, Lee.
That's very good. Do you think, I think I know the answer to this, but are you optimistic or pessimistic that the world is going to come out of this horrible cycle that we're in right now?
Well, I kind of feel that we are sort of right on the cusp from a consciousness perspective. And I think more and more people are beginning to understand that the narrative we are given is, shall we say, at the very least, somewhat flawed. I think if people were to really understand how flawed it is, probably the majority of people would still have a shock. But I am optimistic because I believe we have some massive disclosures around the corner. It's going to come from my perspective, from everything I have studied. It's around the corner. The financial reset is going to happen possibly in the next 12 months. I'm sticking my neck out. That's how it feels at the moment. And it's going to be an interim system. What we are going to get is not the final thing. In 10 years, things will be so very different. It could even be possible that there will be no money, no form of money there at all anymore. But that really depends on how much people will change. And I think you see a side effect of the extremes that are going on at the moment is, people, the average person wants peace. The average person is also beginning to see that they do not have to travel the world every day. That will not bring them peace. So, in a way, all this lockdown and everything that's going on, it's has the byproduct is that we are focusing more on ourselves and that we are beginning to appreciate some of the things we may not have appreciated before. And I think, yes, on the one hand, you have situations where relationships are breaking down more than ever before. The suicide rate has gone up, but not everybody is on the same level. And we know some people will fall by the wayside. Some people will pass away because they just cannot handle the intensity of this new energy that is coming in. But those who can and are willing to go with it, I think we have got a very, very good chance to come out of this very, very well. And perhaps one aside also, it doesn't need that many people of a high level of consciousness to pull the rest of the world along. The old narrative was that you would have to have at least 1% of the population to create a meaningful and lasting shift of the grid. Well, we now know from, through science as well, that that is not true. In fact, far fewer people are necessary to do this if they have, if they are basically vibrating high enough. And so, and this is why what I do, it's very dear to my heart, because I feel with what I am doing, I'm giving people the opportunity not just to become better traders, but to learn to implement healing modalities in a very different way from the old way, which have got the potential to create change at DNA level. We know this is absolutely possible today. The science is there. I mean, I can prove it, and we can do it. It's wonderful work, and everybody who does this pulls with them 100,000 other people in one form or another. So because of that work, it is going on. There are other people who are doing it. As I said, I don't know of anybody in the trading world who is doing it, but I am cautiously optimistic.
Sounds good. I want to read you a statement that somebody in the webinar typed in. Thank you both for your time. I've started getting into meditation and growing awareness and can highly recommend it. Sometimes I have the ability to observe myself in the third person with intrigue. I love it. Life is so much more interesting nowadays. That's from Jody. And then I'm not sure if Jose has a question. Jose, you have your hand raised. If you want to type in your question, feel free. And Mercedes, I can't thank you enough. This was, I have to say, one of the only webinars I've ever seen where no one left the webinar when someone was speaking. That is amazing. And I want to thank you again. I don't see any other questions. If there's anything else you want to say, please do. If not, I want to recommend.
Well, really, just one thing. First of all, obviously, thank you, Lee, for giving me the opportunity to do this webinar. I very much appreciate that. And, obviously, also thank you to your staff who made that possible. And thank you for everybody who invested their time in listening to me. And, please, go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. If my work speaks to you, and I will send you, the presentation and the audio.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Mercedes, thank you again. And everybody that's here, I want to thank everybody again also for spending your time. Have a great weekend, everybody. And Mercedes, you'll be hearing from me as well. So thanks once again, and everybody have a great rest of your day. Take care,
Thank
folks.
you very, very much.
Okay, take care.
And you. Bye-bye.